Welcome to Focus on Liberia. As always, broadcasting from our headquarters in Atlanta. Welcome. This is the Hour of Politics, as always, with me, Anthony C., your host. I am excited about this edition because somebody who is like a big brother to me is my guest. He knows one thing. I don't play big brother. I do my job. Hey, he's a fighter. So I can't claim to say I'm going to knock him down. It is not about boxing. It is about talking about the issues that matter to the Liberian people. Somebody is running for president. His name is Joseph Boakai Sr. My guest is Mr. Anthony V. Kesselly. Mr. Kesselly, it's good to have you here as always. This is not your first time, but welcome to Focus on Liberia on the Hour of Politics this time.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
All right. Folks, let us go into the topic that we have for today. Our topic for today is Vice President Joseph Boakai, the leader. Boakai is a leader. He's been in leadership position. So we want to know this leader, Joseph Boakai. Is he a true leader? By the definition of what we mean when we say true leader. Is he a visionary leader? What are the qualities of a good leader? We are here to talk about this. Who would better have to discuss this very topic other than somebody who have had the opportunity to come close to Joseph Boakai, to work with him? Our guest, Anthony V. Kesselly, former public policy advisor to Mr. JMB. Mr. Kesselly, welcome again. It's good to have you. Let's start quickly. Other than the role you have played by serving the former vice president as his public policy advisor, any other thing that fellow Liberians should know about you before we go into our topic?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you very much in the first place. And I'm very, very happy to appear on your show. Before I joined Ambassador Joseph Boakai, I had almost 30 years of public service, community service, county service, national service, a combination.
Right.
From student politics to regional politics in terms of county, and then to student leadership at the university, where I was president of the University of Liberia Student Union.
Right.
And then national politics, when I was the founding Secretary General of the Liberian People's Party that was founded in 1984, in essence. And then when I had right after the war, I also served at the national level as an assistant minister in the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. After that period, I was privileged to come to the United States, where I continued my community work, my public service, and I was part of the community organization here in Pennsylvania. I sat on the board of directors here, and they seconded me to EULA board of directors, where I rose through the ranks and became chairman of the National Board of Directors. After that, I spent 1 year and then later ran for president of the union, and I became national president. Okay, you already know that I got to know Joseph Boakai in 2012. In earnest, I knew about him. I could see him on TV.
Mr. Kesselly, you are a little low. Can you increase the volume of your device or raise your voice a little bit?
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. The device is a little far from me. So basically, I got to get in personal contact with Ambassador Joseph Boakai in 2012, at the tail end of 2012, when I won the competition for employment under the donor-funded Senior Executive Service Program, SES,
Right.
because my assignment was going to be in his office. So I needed to meet him and have a one-on-one chat with him.
Right.
I drove from Philadelphia to Maryland and met him along with my wife. And then I went ahead to do my probation period in Liberia, and I came back January 2013. I had been working with the city of Philadelphia for 17 years plus, and I decided to take an early retirement because my youngest child at the time had just gone to college. I didn't have any
Right.
more little children. So I went back and I serve as public policy advisor.
Thank you, folks. You heard it. Serve as public policy advisor to GMB. So if you had the opportunity to get to know the leader, Jose Yuma Boakai, but we are here to talk about Jose Boakai, the leader. So let's get started here quickly. What is leadership? What leadership do you find in Mr. Jose Yuma Boakai? So when we say what is leadership, do you find that in Mr. Boakai?
Well, let me define it as he does. I mean, because he is fond of making things simple,
Right.
for every spectrum of society to understand. Some people
Right.
make these very big books. He said basically a leader is someone who removes obstacles.
Okay.
You see that, how it is summed up? A leader,
And that is Mr. Boakai's definition of leadership. Someone
yes,
who removes
who
obstacles.
he said that's the job of leadership, to remove
All right.
obstacles and get things to progress in the right direction. I knew him in terms of what I heard about him. Normally, I don't take that at face value until
Right.
I really have an interaction with the person.
Mhm.
But whatever I heard about him in terms of a good leadership, and put leadership aside, his personality, the way he lives his life, only got reinforced when I joined him in his office. So he is someone who is not interested in all the wahala, screaming at the top of the lungs, basically trying to bring someone down in order to succeed. Like they say, you stand over the carcass of somebody to reach out for your success. He doesn't believe in that. He believes in compromise. And maybe we'll get to that point. One of the things that really, really got me attracted to him, the question of honesty and humility. But perhaps down the road we will get to that. So yes, he is a leader, and I'm not claiming here that he's a saint or a prophet, because I see a lot of prophets, yeah, prophet truth and prophet this and that, but I don't claim him to be a prophet. He has his human feelings. He's a human being. But if we come to comparison with other people who are available, other people who have put themselves at our disposal to scrutinize, I think he edges them and goes in front.
So in your knowing of Mr. Boakai, will you say that he is a visionary leader and a true leader?
That's exactly what I just said. He is a visionary leader, and he not, some people have very good visions, and that's not, people get carried away. Oh, this very good vision. You can have a good vision. You theoretically map out this vision, but the question is, if they give you the opportunity, how crafty are you at implementing that vision? So the vision can be very fine on paper. Like people say, why your platform? Why your vision? You can have a very nice one. It looks like, but it's always a pie in the sky. When you find a pie that is in the sky, it might be sweet, it might be very delicious, but it's in the sky. How do you get to it? So you could have a very crafty, a very forward-looking vision. The question is, if you are given the opportunity, how good are you at implementing that vision? So I think he has both. He has the vision and he has the capability to put into reality that vision.
All right, thank you. So talking about he being a visionary leader, according to research, a visionary leader creates an inspiring vision of the future. That is research speaking. That a visionary leader creates an inspiring vision of the future. So, how has Mr. Boakai in any way created an inspiring vision for Liberia's future? Because he's running to be president. He's done that.
One of the key things he says is leading by example. You see, like I said earlier, you said visionary creates inspiration and all of it. Yes, you can create all the inspiration. You mobilize people. People get committed. But how do you implement it? That is just a theoretical writing there. You create inspiration. The rubber hits the road when you are giving the practical opportunity to put that into reality and get it to impact people's lives. So
but first you must be able to create the vision. The research says a visionary leader creates an inspiring vision, and that vision should be known by
you can
the leader and even to the supporters. So what is Joseph Boakai's vision for Liberia? Do you know it? Has he communicated that?
Well, I think a vision is not something that someone just sit down and write. In the person's speeches, in how the person carries out himself, his utterances, you can picture his vision.
I agree, but in his case, he has not written it down for Liberia.
I'm coming. Most people see vision. You go and sit down and write on copybook and some sentences and say this is vision. Someone can even do it for you and you claim it that this is my vision. The question comes in terms of how you live your life. The vision, you can see Joseph Boakai's vision in himself, in how he has lived. He foresees a society where people are held accountable for what they do. If it is bad, you get the blame. If it is good, you get the accolade. He sees our country as very backward due to poor leadership, and sees countries that we assisted in getting into development, in fact, getting independence, and help them in many ways, sending even personnel to work in their offices that have gone far ahead. He feels that there are ways that we can catch up, if not surpass those countries, in neighboring countries and all. So it's not something he need to write on paper and give it, say, yeah, my vision, you go carry around, be carrying around. I don't believe in that. I believe in looking at you, how you've lived, how you've executed functions that you have been given, and there are pictures.
So Mr. Kesselly, in short, if I'm understanding you right, and correct me if I didn't pick that up correctly, that he has a vision, but the vision is not written down somewhere or has not been written down somewhere.
It's written in the Unity Party because he's not an independent candidate. Okay.
But I'm asking for his personal vision for the country as a leader.
But that's exactly what ain't no point in you writing your personal vision, passing with it. You go sell your vision to the partisans and they elect you as standard bearer. And that gets formulated into the party's vision. You don't have your separate vision, then the party got separate vision. That's not how it works. You are what?
Is that impossible, Mr. Kesselly?
Yes, it's contradictory. You are what?
So why can't he make a vision to become the party's vision?
But that's the fact
saying he's the flag bearer.
Yeah, thank you. The fact that you say, why can't he make his vision? The fact that he got elected, endorsed as the leader, means the vision he shared with them is what attracted them to make him the standard bearer. He bears you get the point? He gets the standard of the party. So he does. What if your standard contradicts your party standard? How are you a standard bearer? So his standards are the ones that are codified, sold at a primary or convention, whatever it is. And if there are other people who are opposing him, they put their platform. And unfortunately, in our country, most of the time, people are not challenged at primaries. So it must be that the vision that he shared is something people agree with. That's how you, in the normal sense, become a standard bearer. like the Democratic Party goes to their primary, there are several persons who can share their vision, some of them clashing with each other. At the end of the day, the person whose vision emerges becomes the flag, the poster direction of that particular leadership or administration. So,
Thank you. So the research also has said, talking about visionary leader, a visionary leader motivates and inspires people to engage with that vision. The visionary leader manages delivery of the vision. The visionary leader coaches and builds a team so that it is more effective at achieving that vision. Now, to this portion of this research that we have done here, it's talking about the team and how he manages the team, how he coaches the team, so that that vision can be achieved, right? 2017, he had a team, because the vision can only be achieved, for the most part when he gets the presidency. And there was a failure. He didn't succeed. And now there's another attempt again. Does he have the team intact, and is he coaching the team? And what is the makeup of this team? Is this team exemplary? Is reflective of the leader himself?
I hope you are taking note.
I'm taking note.
Yeah, I'm just saying something. The last time we were at this game, it was a different ball game. Unity Party, independent of all other parties, was running to win the elections. This one, a year or so ago, we emerged into a collaboration.
Okay.
Whenever you get into a collaboration, it shouldn't be just what you have. The fact that you agree to go in a collaboration has an implicit agreement that you will be willing to give and take. Otherwise, there is no need for you to collaborate with anybody if you feel either the other people agree with you or no other way. So when you enter collaboration, you have to bring your vision. Firstly, the general scope of your vision must be accepted by the other partners, and you too must accept the general scope of their vision. Within there, you have to prioritize and do other orderings of your objectives and so forth. So when you sit there, you have to do compromises. So Unity Party had its mission that was unaccomplished because of the failure to win the elections. But then certain things would have been changed if the government that took over had implemented a lot of things that would remove the need for some of those items on the platform of the party that didn't win. But what we are having, nothing much has changed anyway. So the vision may not change that much because the situations that were supposed to be confronted still prevail. So in this aspect of the campaign, we have a collaboration that has to go to a convention or whatever and synthesize their respective platforms and come up with one platform that all of them agree, yeah, this is acceptable. This is what.
And Mr. Kesselly, you know that chances too are that this collaboration may die a natural death. So he might have to go with Unity Party, as was the case in 2017. So I don't want you to bring the collaboration aspect in. We are talking about Joseph Yeman Boakai, the leader, devoid of the CPP for now. So tell me, how is he managing a team that will prepare him to victory, something he did not achieve the first time?
Well, if you were to follow all the polls, official, non-official, quasi-polls, and this and that,
right,
it will tell you that at least he's not on the wrong track.
Okay.
So that's a result that tells you that he's working. It may not be perfect. It may be a little bit in suspense because people are thinking CPP or what, so it's not definitive. But indeed, he has his structures. And let me clarify, I thought we were going to begin the stuff with that, and I wanted to make sure people know that I am absolutely no official in either the party, Unity Party, or the campaign, the Joseph Boakai campaign. At this point, I am no official. I have never ever been an official. I am just a die-hard supporter because of the man I know him to be.
You are emphasizing the die-hard. Why are you emphasizing it? You are a LPP partisan, from what I understand. Correct me there.
People have tried to kill me before, but they failed. So I say I'm die-hard. I'm kidding. A political killing. But listen,
I know.
Yeah, LPP actually, in essence, I started it. We started it. Let me say, and I was seconded to be.
So you are starving your own political party in a bag for a Unity Party partisan.
Listen, okay, let me tell you what I'm trying to tell you. When we founded the Unity Party, it never became a party, official party. It was the organizing committee. We launched the organizing committee. Okay. At that time, you remember our party was smashed along with the UPP. They were crushed. We were never given the time to come full bloom. We were discussing draconian requirements that the election commission at that time had, put forth for party registration. We went to the first meeting, all the other opposition parties.
It's eminent. We got a lot of cover. Let us not go into that history. Let's talk about Joseph Boakai, the leader. And let's come to this aspect of, being a true leader.
Because there's a little technical point you made. You
okay.
A little punch, and I wanted to clarify. Oh, you betray your own party.
Okay. Then make it as brief as possible so we can move on. Go ahead.
The party never came to life until 1994. I left the Republic of Liberia. Since I left the Republic of Liberia, I have not affiliated with any political party. I have supported parties based on the candidates.
You sure that's a candidate? You're not looking at the chances of winning so that maybe you can get factor into government?
But let me give you this example. 1997 elections, I was not with Unity Party. I was not, there was an election where, how do you call him? I was with LAP. With
Liberian Action Party.
How do you call him?
Vanny Sherman? Cletus Watterson, okay.
Cletus Watterson, because we went to a convention. I believe in alliances, coalitions, and so that's how I feel things are easy to win. So when we went to that, Dr. Tipo, the other people went there, but after the results came, I think they had disagreement. But whoever was elected is the person I supported, Cletus Watterson. He came here with talking all around. So I have never ever supported anybody based on their party.
All right. Thank you. Let's come to this being a true leader. Let's talk about that. Research said true leaders reprimand their people from a place of love and a genuine desire to help them improve. Also, true leaders should hold themselves and their people accountable. Mark that one, accountability. True leaders are forthright with their people. They communicate openly and often. Mark that word, often. And finally, good leaders understand that no value comes from the use of sarcasm, beating around the bush, and sugarcoating things that need to be communicated. Now, let's square these with Ambassador Boakai, people will call me, I'll let us say Vice President Boakai, on the issue of accountability. A leader holds the people he leads accountable. In the case of Mo Ali, when he got himself into a situation he could not handle, Mr. Boakai did not show any accountability. He acted as though nothing happened. That is one. The research also said, good leader communicate often and openly. Very seldom does Mr. Boakai speak. And in fact, he's on record for saying, hey, I don't just talk, I talk because people want to listen. So let's leave those two. Let me bring you in on those two. Does he hold people accountable? Does he speak often on the issues that affect people?
Where is the party chairman, the former party chairman today? Where is he? Is he still chairman?
He's
Okay.
no longer with any party as we speak. He's been booted from Unity Party and booted from PL.
Was he booted? I mean, I don't know whether holding people accountable. But let me go to this. Let me be frank with you. When you are comparing leaders or the choices available for leadership, you don't go with the mindset that you are finding a saint. That's how I am practical and pragmatic.
I get that, but we're talking accountability there. Mo Ali was not held accountable. You want to speak to that?
Mo Ali did not commit any party violation.
Okay. No moral violation at all.
Well, as far as we are concerned, he didn't violate. And if there was anything, the law of the country is there. If they have found him guilty and this and that, and we will not render you guilty before you have your day in court officially. People may call you and tell you how they feel. Any kind of way, some people go on Facebook and tell you how they feel, like other people do. But there are other channels you can register, maybe your disapproval, but that is not.
So Mr. Boakai did the right thing by playing it low, right?
Yes. You saw me talk myself, but if I show you communications between me and Mo and this and that, that's what I chose. Mm-hmm. Okay, but if you like embezzle the party's money or something like that, you're passing it around and they investigate and maybe you're not cooperating and this and that's a different picture. You know, we have to separate these things. We have to act like we are not in the United States of America. A lot of people, when it comes to certain person, they take the standard in the United States.
So in short, in Liberia, what happened was okay because that's Liberia, right?
It was okay. Now, I never said it was
I'm asking
okay.
question. I'm asking
my
question.
Personal opinion. You're talking about standard bearer coming out to make a statement on Mo Ali. I said Joseph Boakai did nothing wrong with that. Whatever he may have communicated, if it was serious, if it was true, by this time we have laws, we have courts in the country. He should have been dealt with. Okay? But so I was saying that you don't look for a saint. All the points you are outlining are very
Is that an acknowledgement that Mr. Boakai, has some pitfalls in his life as a leader?
Everybody has pitfalls. That's the point I'm trying to make. You are looking for a saint. You are looking for a Messiah who's very clean and flawless. I don't think I will find that. I will find someone in some areas, they are not as great as some areas. But to me, I will weigh which areas are important for our national advancement.
Okay.
And that's where you said accountability. Accountability. I'm very sure if you look at the two things you wrote, it tells you exactly leadership by example. Okay, you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to be honest and everything. Then you hold other people in similar light. But if you are not setting the example, who do you expect to see that the example is practical? So he leads by example. He is very, very accountable. He knows what is his and what is not his. Because he knows if he tampers with what is not his, he cannot tell the other man, why did you tamper with what is not yours? So you lead by example. That's the point I'm trying to make.
And saying the more I lead thing you push back, leaders should be able to hold those they lead accountable, especially when they misbehave. But you are saying
the point is a lot of you in the media feel every government or activity should be on Facebook. And once it's not there, it never happened.
Well, I don't think Focus on Liberia feels that way. So Focus on Liberia believes that leaders should hold their followers accountable if something happens, that is like an embarrassment and brings a kind of cloud or dark cloud on the institution the leader should add. That's why we're saying, but let me bring this one to you. Let me bring this one to you. Saying the more Ali thing is no issue. Yeke Koluba, is in the CPP. He's on record to the knowledge of Mr. Boakai of insulting a sitting president, whatever way anyone feels about that president, he goes on to insult the president. And Mr. Boakai has now succeeded to advise Yeke Koluba, no record whatsoever of calling Yeke's behaviors out. That is not exemplary leadership. Don't you think so?
Did Yeke Koluba's insult start when Boakai was chairman of CPP?
It does not matter. He has been a leader of a political institution. So it's not about the CPP. It's Boakai the leader.
It does. No, it does. Was someone else leader of CPP before Yeke was causing?
Mr. Boakai wants to be president. The office of the presidency is being insulted by somebody who is within the CPP, and he is a leader. He's the head of the statement. So he should say something. Don't you think so?
Let me refresh your mind.
Go ahead.
Let me refresh your mind. Alexander Cummings was chairman of CPP, or Benona Ure was chairman of CPP. How do you call her? Nyombli Lawrence was chairman of CPP. During all those times, in fact, in more forceful terms, since Ambassador Boakai took over the CPP, it has not been even a month. So the indictment is for him now, according to your question. All those people who were in similar position, they want to be president. They've offered themselves as presidential material before, except Nyombli. They did nothing to stop this man from the insult. We're not dealing with the essence of the insult, but I'm dealing with the blame game that you close your eyes to everything else, but you target one person. This is a man who people served 8 months. Some people served more than 8 months. This man hasn't been there for 1 month. He took over October 15. I think yesterday made him 1 month. And so now he bears responsibility for Yeke Koluba's insults. I don't go that route.
All right.
I don't go that route. So and he is not a member of Ambassador Boakai's party. He's a member of one of the former CPP chairman's party.
All right.
But you roll that over, forgive all the other people. Well, now it's maybe it's because I'm sitting here and I'm on behalf of.
But this interview is about Mr. Boakai, the leader. Mr. Kesselly, you need to understand that. If I'm interviewing somebody on Cummings, the leader, I will bring in Cummings' failure to hold Yeke accountable on the insults that he continued, to reign on the office of the presidency. So let's stick to that. Let me say this. You said earlier something that I really like, that according to Mr. Boakai, leaders remove obstacles.
Very well.
Leaders solve problems, in other words. Leaders impact the life of people. Has Mr. Boakai impacted the life of people in his own community where he lives?
Well, I don't know your interpretation of impacted their lives. Maybe you want to say get them back on rice? Or like
I'm not a Beck or Rice journalist. I'm talking about improving the material condition of people. It's not giving them rice to eat.
Well, firstly, let me tell you, he has on many, many occasions done his widow's might. You see, there are some limitations that come with being honest.
I agree.
If you are honest, you ignore temptations, and you're not making that much salary, your pocket is not that deep because you're living by principle. You could go and steal. If Ambassador Boakai wanted to be a multimillionaire within those 12 years, he would have been richer than Cummings and, how do you call him, Ure. I can tell you that. If he wanted to be. I'm not saying those people stole, but the fact that they have money and people boast that they can do a lot of things. But because of the background he comes from, he didn't inherit anything. He didn't go to America to work. He was being here serving the people. He is what he is.
Are you saying he doesn't have money, so he has not impacted people's life?
As much as he would like to. As much as he would like to. That is in his heart, genuinely. Yes, he will because I've been with him. I've
Okay.
seen some of the thoughts.
And,
So
and I'll come to
looking at
that. I'll come to that. And I wanted to also ask you, Mr. Kesselly, Mr. Boakai served as vice president for our country for 12 years. That was one of the greatest opportunity anybody can dream of. And I'm
he said
just
what
curious here,
he did what
how uh,
he said what was the opportunity?
I say one of the greatest opportunity that anybody would dream of, right? That he had. And that was one of those areas he could have made a very good impact. But my question here is how involved, at what level, what was the level of involvement with the governance of Liberia when he served as vice president? Oh, I can't hear you, Mr. Kesselly. I can't hear you. I am not hearing you. Apparently, somebody might have called you. Yeah, I'm not hearing you at all. So if you can hear me, you can leave and come back. Apparently, somebody tried to call you. That might have caused that problem. Yeah, I understand. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So leave and come back. Please leave and come back. I cannot hear you. Let me do something here. Hold on, Mr. Kesselly. Hold on there. I cannot hear you. And come back. All right. I can't hear you, Mr. Cassidy. I cannot hear you. I am not hearing you at all. I am not hearing you at all. You can leave and come back. Can you leave and come back? Yeah, thank you. Leave and come back. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony here hosting. Of course, it got to be the hour of politics with me here always. The topic that we are discussing is Vice President Joseph Yuma Boakai, the leader. Is Mr. Boakai a leader? Is he a visionary leader? Is he a true leader? If yes, then let's see the activities that actually bring us to this conclusion that number one, he is a visionary leader, and number two, he is a true leader. Our guest is Mr. Anthony V. Kesselly. He having to be a former public policy advisor to Mr. Joseph Yuma Boakai. I still have some good questions for him. Please bear with us. Mr. Kesselly going to jump back in. He had some issues with his device that he couldn't hear me, and I too could not hear him. That is why we could not continue with the discussion. I hope he's going to come back. But while we wait, let's see if there are some comments already. Folks who might, be chiming in already. Let's hear from Save the State. Yeka is a lawmaker. He spoke his mind. Period. What a justification. Do you agree with what Yeka is saying? If you do not agree with it, then say something about it. That's the question I'm asking. What has the vice president said about this bad behavior? Oh, lawmakers don't break laws. Lawmakers don't behave badly. Anything a lawmaker does is good now. Is that your point? Why don't you ask ABC and the ANC folks the question? Because I'm not interviewing somebody about ABC. That is not what I'm doing today. Let's hear from Ellen. Boakai is known for criticizing the very government he once worked for and gives absolutely no solution. So tell us his vision. Let's hear from Mianta answering the history is good because he is revealing something we need to know. Mr. Kesselly is from the old school. So say one, so say all. I will think. Let's hear from Riverside Pro. Who do you make the decision? I don't know what you're trying to say. Not Riverside Pro, right? So this person is speaking to Riverside Pro. It is easy. I will leave that comment alone. It's kind of difficult to get to then. Let's hear from Harry Jr. or Domo from Lexington, Kentucky, USA. I'm listening to you, Mr. C. Amen. Why do you guys from the Southeast keep fighting JMB? Hey, I'm playing the role of a journalist and asking questions. Then you say that fighting again? Yeah, Bangladesh people. Let's hear from Leo. Are there official of JMB's campaign? JMB campaign official? We have been trying to even get Mr. JMB himself. We are still making some efforts. It's hard to get people who are in JMB circle. I can tell you that. Besides George Lobo, it's very hard to get most of them. For sure, we had Mo Ali. I believe he's in his circle. We will still continue to make effort. And sometime again, we had Colonial Kratoba. We are hoping. Mr. Kennedy, it's Mr. Kesselly, not Kennedy. You have to communicate your vision before you collaborate, then collaborate, and it is in the vein that brings about results. Let's hear from Leo Johnson again. Vision is an imagination without a plan. We are tired with vision in isolation. Where is the plan? A plan is a detailed proposal for doing or achieving a vision. Leo, you got it right. Leo again, he's busy here. Vision is it's the same comment. Let's hear from River says Pro. River says arguing with this guy. That's not what I'm here for. Let's hear for Save the State again. You are constructing yourself. First, you said JMB cannot have a vision separate from the party. Then you said the primary process is where members of the party express their vision. Come on, somebody is holding Mr. Kesselly accountable. Let's hear from Florian Kingsley. How will you think in that manner when Liberia has so many tribes? So stop thinking wrongly about the other people. Let's hear from James Koya Jackson. Aliu V Samba saying it is not put on paper. Saying it is not put on paper, then he should explain it. Let me go to more comments here, folks. Mr. Kesselly, we hope you can join in quickly here. We will appreciate that. I still have some questions. We are even just getting started. We were about to go to the sections whether or not Mr. Boakai has taken any position on any major policy issues in Liberia. That is the part I want to get to, because leaders should be able to take, position on major issues in Liberia. Mr. Boakai has been around. I want to know, what is Mr. Boakai's position on dual citizenship? Has he even spoken on dual citizenship? Does he even have a position on that? I would definitely want to know about that. I want to know, what is Mr. Boakai's position on the CPP framework, tempering, altering, fingering, and all that. Mr. Kesselly is calling me here. Hold on, folks. Mr. Kesselly, how you doing there?
Yeah, I don't know. It says the requested ULR was not found on this server. That's all we know. I go anywhere, the way telling me.
All right, Mr. Kesselly, let me send you a phone number, and then you have you ever called on our conference number before?
I don't remember.
It's in the strolling text there. If you are looking at it, you can call that number and enter the code, and then you can speak on the phone. That will work too if you are having issue logging in.
But what happened? I got 3 phones here, and what would be the reason for this?
I really don't understand. You were in. It didn't take you, long to get in earlier. I don't know what happens.
Yes.
So
I'm not seeing.
You want me to send you the teleconference number then, so you can call in?
Yeah.
Or you rather come on video? Which way? Which one?
I really like the video that was.
Yeah, the video is bad. So make progress. Make effort again. Let's see. If you don't mind, I can resend the link to you.
Dennis calling me. Hold on.
Yeah. So folks, bear with all. We're trying to get Mr. Kesselly back in, and folks, he's not Kennedy, he's Kesselly. Mr. Kesselly will definitely come back. We will get him here. We still have some questions for him. We still have some questions for Mr. Kesselly. Let me send him the link again. Hoping that makes a difference in any way. Let's see, Mr. Kesselly. Anyway, let me go back to your comments. I think my partner Dennis Jai is working with him. Let's hear from Ellen. Liberia has changed, Mr. Guest. If you are going to defend somebody, then can prepare to do so. Let's hear from Justina Bajibo, Loka Balo. Hey, you people talking chichipole talk here. Let's talk the real issues, Liberians. River says Pro, the Unity Party isn't building their brain to meet up with present-day political realities, including landscape and demographic. The fact that this man is representing the party tells you that they are not ready for generational change. Let's hear from Harry Jr. Domo. Mr. Alexander Cummings came to America and insulted by saying they did not read the document, and that was completely, what word is that? Bullshit? Come on, do better, man. This platform is not for those kind of undigestible, languages. Let's hear from Jojo. The problem about JMB is when they talk about UP corruption, he always distances himself. But when it comes to our development, he's always enclosed himself. That's being insincere. Folks, have your comments rolling while we are working with Mr. Kesselly to get him back in here. We really need him here because we have a lot to cover. I have a lot of questions for him. I want to know what is Mr. Boakai. Mr. Boakai, it took him about 14 years from my calculation before he could give a definite position on whether or not he supports the World and Economic Crimes Court. I also want to know whether or not Mr. Boakai, what is his position on salary disparity? I really want to know. We know government officials are making a lot of fat salaries. I want to know what is Mr. Boakai's position on that. He having to have served as vice president. His budget for the most part was in 2 million plus, whereas other agencies and other sectors and other essentials in our society and our country were getting far less than what he was receiving as a vice president. The whole issue of paying legislators so much money in a unity party government, according to Mo Ali, somebody, one McLean rather, the what's it called, Nokar, was being paid $30,000 a month. I want to know if Mr. Boakai has said anything about it and what is his general position on the whole idea, of people making this kind of money when police officers are practically making nothing. I want to know. We have a Zoko crisis in our country. I mean, I have not heard Mr. Boakai say anything about the Zoko crisis. Apparently he has. But what is his solution to the Zoko crisis? I really, really, really want to know. What is Mr. Boakai's solution to the Zoko crisis? I really want to know. And I also want to hear about, whether Mr. Boakai had said anything about the More Than Me Academy. If many of you don't know, there was an institution, a school, to put it simply, in Liberia that was established by one American citizen, who were trying to help with girls' education in Liberia. And in that school, the More Than Me Academy, young girls were raped and infested with HIV. Many Liberians were outraged. I really want to hear from the vice president. And these two were carried to Liberia, started operation in Liberia when he was vice president. I really want to know. I also want to know preparing a features leader for Liberia. I'm curious as to who are the leaders the vice president is grooming right now. Who are the leaders he's preparing? We talk about decentralization and devolution. The power of the presidency is so huge and so humongous. The president appoints even down to town chiefs, city mayors, and all that, which should not be. There's too much power. the political scientists and the people who are professionals in the area of democracy, they refer to it as the imperial presidency. Then they just call it the King Kong presidency. The president is everything. So there's something called decentralization and the devolution of power, so that these powers can be given. Some can be taken away from the president. I really want to know, what is Mr. Boakai's position on that? He's running to be president of our country. These are the things, and there are other accusations against Mr. Boakai himself. And, I really want to know. And Mr. Boakai, in 2017, he ran. 2023 is coming. He's running again. There are so many young people in the Unity Party. So let's say after the 2023 election, Mr. Boakai, God forbid, he doesn't win. What happens? Will there now be a vacuum, as was in the case of the Liberty Party? When Mr. Bronskin left the scene, there was a vacuum. Today, Unity Party is in chaos, politically speaking. There's so much infighting because he was the political King Kong in the Liberty Party at the time. He was the political godfather. The Liberty Party brought about this thing called political leader, and everybody picks it up thinking that it's anything good for our democracy, for a competitive and pluralistic form of democracy in our country. It is completely the opposite. And, so I really want to know what efforts, Mr. Boakai is making to avoid the Bronskin Liberty Party kind of scenario in the Unity Party. So I have so many questions, Mr. Boakai, in my own observation, there's not much known about him when it comes to his position on so many policy issues in Liberia. Where does he stand on decentralization? Where does he stand on dual citizenship? What does he stand on the imperial presidency? Where does he stand on the fact that legislators are being paid so much money? Where does he stand on the issue of brown envelope? Where does he stand on the issue of auditing former government officials? I understand he spoke recently in Philadelphia that when he takes over, the Weah administration will be audited. Now, it is what Mr. Boakai is saying. Is there any record of Mr. Boakai himself being audited? Because you have to be an example of what you preach as a leader. I just want to know that if Mr. Boakai has been audited, can he release the audit reports so that we can know that he is this Mr. Clean as he's being sold to the Liberian people? You have to be an example of what you preach as a leader. And so, folks, I have so many questions. I hope our guests will come in before our time is out here. Another thing I really want to know is Mr. Boakai. There's no information as to whether he has filed his campaign finance papers with the National Election Commission as required by law. By law, when you contest in any elections, after the election, you should be able to file with National Election Commission. The money you raise, how you spend the money, and all that is required by law. I'm not saying Mr. Boakai did not do it, but this information is not in the public space. I would definitely want to know whether or not Mr. Boakai has been able to do that, because he has to be an example, right? And also, I really want to know, this idea that the Unity Party, is divided. That there's this fight. Mr. Boakai is on record in his interview with Focus on Africa of the BBC that he is good at resolving issues. And, so I really want to know there's this fight, this problem in the Unity Party between him and Mana Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who he was vice president to. And talking about that, folks, we have done our research and that we have got a lot of things, right? So one of the things we got is on Joseph Boakai's watch, his boss, Ellen Johnson President Sirleaf, was made to be expelled. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was expelled from the Unity Party. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was expelled from the Unity Party. Hold on. Hold on, folks, 1 minute. So, as I was saying, under Mr. Boakai's watch, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was expelled. Actually, to be fair to Mr. Boakai, either he himself can come or he can say a direct representative from the party. Kennedy Boakai and his faction of the party forgot that it was Ellen Johnson Sirleaf who went the extra mile and rebranded the Unity Party. So what happened was that the attacks on President Sirleaf caused the destruction of Mr. Boakai's presidential campaign, in 2017. And then Kennedy Boakai allowed a press statement that was read by then chairman of the Unity Party, Wilmon Page, on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's birthday. And according to our research, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was being insulted, and Vani Shimon, Benina Ure, and all those folks came together. They went against Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. It was a major fight. To this day, there's no record whether there has been any resolution to this issue. And the Unity Party spokesperson at the time, Moali, accused Mr. Kesselly of using state resources to fund Mr. Weah's campaign and said that the evidence will have been disclosed later. Those evidence were never made available at all to this date. So there is a serious crisis. All right, they said Mr. Kesselly is on the phone line. Let me open the phone line here and get him quickly. Dennis, thanks for the efforts. This has actually robbed of all the time we should have had. But we will do our best, folks. Bear with us here. I'm coming to take Mr. Kesselly, who is on the phone. Mr. Kesselly is on the phone. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Okay. Mr. Kesselly, we have you. Welcome back. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the folks are hearing you loud and clear. Folks are hearing you loud and clear. So I want us to go to, most of our time has been taken. So I was just doing a little commentary just to keep the viewers engaged. Let's go to leaders taking position on major issues.
Yeah, but listen, hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I hope the audience is hello.
Yeah, you are loud and clear. Go ahead, Mr. Kesselly.
Yeah, okay. I'm hoping that the audience is told that the reason why I got cut off, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Hello, I have no idea. It's not my fault at this end. And I later on, Dennis told me to get on the other side. It still was not working through. I sat on this phone forever. It was not open. I know you just opened it, but maybe the technical failure was from your system. I don't want people to feel that I ran away and
no.
I was not feeling too good that you kept on the indictment and went this and then there's nobody to stop you. But you said a lot. But I'm here. When I got on, I heard you saying it started last year, and then it took 14 years. You didn't support war crimes and this and that and so forth.
Yeah.
But I'm here.
So let's go into it. It's good that you heard me. I was trying to tell you to get on the phone.
I heard that it still is. Yes. Go ahead, Mr.
So I want to know what is Mr. Boakai's position on this framework document, author or not author? What is his position?
You on framework document now? Okay. Hello.
I'm listening to you, Mr. Kesselly. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. Hold on. Let me turn this thing off because I'm trying to look at you on my. But
there your lists are delayed. So let me.
Yeah, I don't listen to the broadcast because the broadcast is delayed a little bit for a few seconds. Go ahead.
I'm going to switch it off right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. You talk about framework documents. I think it's something for everybody to understand. These people were formulated their framework documents. At some point, I guess early this year, a partner or collaborator in their union, in the person of Mr. Ure, suspected something. He raised alarm. He wrote his observation as a complaint that something he noticed had been done in a nefarious way on the document. My thinking is that the organization approaches very well in terms of best practice. Nobody was indicted instantly. There was no specific name mentioned in that allegation. And what you do is investigate allegations. And I remember before political leaders met in their formal organization, and what did they say? Oh, well, this is serious. They took it serious. They didn't dismiss it. They took it serious and decided to commission a committee.
Yeah, Mr. Kesselly, my question is, in Nyombli's case, Nyombli found Mr. Cummings liable. Does Mr. Boakai has any position whether or not Cummings actually was found liable or whether or not Cummings is guilty of any wrongdoing as was accused by Benny Ure? I just want to get a definite position. Does he have one or not?
The question is, what is Ambassador Boakai's view on the framework document? That's what I'm answering. And I'll soon be ending. It's not too long. I'm not in the days of the CPP thing. I'm not a member. I'm an outside observer. They went to this meeting, and the conclusion they came out was to commission a committee. Everybody assigned somebody on the committee in agreement, and they went ahead. I think that was the appropriate, process that any good organization will follow. Okay, when the report came, they went again in their session, accepted the report as official, because you will not read the document, you don't accept it. When you go, people present the report, you take it as a forming part of your record. And then going inside, Mr. Cummings had issues to contest, according to him. So then what was agreed again? Let's give it to the lawyer. So you see, all these points you are agreeing and you're going along. And then they give it to the lawyer. Why is with the lawyer, we are told that he's demanding an apology? I didn't reason with that. And that he was going to have a press conference to report the issues that were in there. And then they got their own representative of the committee coming to find discrepancies and all of that. I think this is where they made the vote. I think everything should have been quiet until this thing, reaches its final. There's lawyers, the lawyers got scared to the scale of the division and bad blood and declined to take a position. So that is what I heard, because here there was a delegation from the ANC that came to meet the chairman, Ambassador Boakai, and I happened to have been sitting there, and he explained these things in the case procedure. Did they come to the point that there was something wrong? That, if you know, there is no dispute, whether with Cummings, whether with Boakai, whether with Nyombli, that something was changed on the framework document. The question from the Cummings side was, this is not my
Mr. Kesselly, I'm only asking you for Mr. Boakai's position. I mean, that's something you can say in a few sentences, but you're taking so long. We have a lot to get to here. So please be brief. What is Mr. Boakai's position? Author or not author? That is my question.
There were author written.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question.
It's not Mr. Boakai's position. Mr. Boakai was not commissioned to do the report.
So he doesn't have a position, and that's fine, right?
Not, I didn't say so. I'm not you rushing to put words. He said the committee reported, and Mr. Cummings has not denied in all his documents. What was the change that materially changed? It means there was suspicious, it's not nefarious, it's not something that anybody can make any beef out of it.
Okay.
That is a contention.
All right.
Contention is not a thing. I hope people read all the official positions.
Yeah, let me progress, Mr. Kesselly.
There's no dispute in the CPC that nothing was seen. Even if there was a T that was crossed or an I that was dotted or a TH equal to AN, something was seen. The issue now is the scale of the king, the motive behind the king. These are where they are trading blows on. What you get?
Yeah, Mr. Kesselly, let me progress. We have a lot to get to. If we can be brief, that will do us a little more justice to cover more. The issue of Zogos. There's a Zogo crisis in our country.
I'm not interested in running and people don't understand what we are saying.
Yeah, we also dealing with time. We got 1 hour already. We have 1 hour, 30 minutes because of that problem we had. If you can be as much concise as possible, the people will understand you.
3 or 4 questions is enough. Let people understand what it is. We didn't come to just zoom through and it confuses people more. I mean, I think it will be to your benefit as a media for people to actually get what we are.
No, my benefit is for the people to understand, or else I won't invite you to talk about it, right?
Okay, thank you. I'm waiting for it.
All right. So the Zogo crisis we have in our country, what is Mr. Boakai's solution? Because you said earlier, leaders, remove obstacles, and the Zogo thing is a major obstacle. We can put it that way. Darius DeLong, in his case, has set an example. Leaders, or lead by example. What is Mr. Boakai's solution, or what example has he been able to set as is in terms of finding solution to this Zogo crisis we have in our country? Do you know?
My brother, I don't think you would determine here which side Mr. Boakai should choose. Mr. Boakai is not only Zogo, on all round. Well, in the campaign that Mr. DeLong ran, he specifically attacked the issue of Zogo. So when he took over, he focused on fulfilling his campaign promise. Well, that is just one aspect of Liberia's development problem. Mr. Boakai has, over the years, firstly, he was a leader in FLA, Federation of Liberian Youth.
Mr. Kesselly, you are going to something else. Answer the question on the Zogo. Does Mr. Boakai has a solution? Has he proposed one? Does he have a plan? Has he done anything about the Zogo crisis? Has he said anything about the Zogo crisis? That is my question.
The only thing I don't like on this show is your desire for people to tailor their answer according to.
I asked you about Zogo. You're talking about FLA. I didn't ask you about FLA.
I'm talking about his involvement. You said, has he ever? I'm telling you about his involvement in youth. A lot of the Zogos are youth. Are they not? A lot of them are younger people. So I'm coming to his involvement. I mean, and you want me to answer it a different way. In the platform of the Unity Party, there is a place to provide them, training. Those who are on drugs, to provide, drug addiction treatment, to train them and to look for jobs for them. I can also tell you that I was in the office of vice president when he was involved with the youth employment program. And that was a very successful program. It targeted youth, getting them to help cities. There were 26 cities that were identified all around the country. It was a very, very robust program. You can ask some of the youth leaders in Liberia. They assigned them to city mayor's offices, and they were doing sanitation.
All right.
And so there are a lot of programs that are in the. I'm not here to state and read the whole Unity Party.
I understand. There are a lot of things they're doing, which involve the youth, and you said the Zogo part of the youth, but I asking specifically about the Zogo, and I did not get any, plan, any solution being put forth, anything being done specifically by Mr. Boakai concerning the youth. So let me ask the question. Mr. Boakai has been accused.
That is your answer to the question. That's not.
But if Mr. Boakai has done something about the youth, the Zogos, you would have told me, wouldn't you?
The audience is listening. The audience is listening. You can make your judgment. You heard nothing. Nothing has happened. So let's proceed.
So we will proceed. Mr. Boakai has been accused repeatedly for tribalism. At some point during the campaign, Kennedy Boakai played the Congo native card to his advantage as a leader. Has Mr. Boakai shown any leadership in addressing this Congo native divide in our country?
I'm not going to let you go on this. Please show me the specific instance to show the Congo native card. Because this man,
I just said to you during the campaign, he played that card.
When the campaign throughout, where and on what instance did he play the Congo native card?
During the campaign.
Where? What is during the campaign? I was with the campaign throughout.
During the campaign, Mr. Boakai said he's the native candidate.
That's not true. That's absolutely not.
And I'm going to prove it to you. So go ahead.
No. Let's get this straight. It is not true that at any point, because Ambassador Boakai, if there anybody we almost thought he was Congo man, based on all his friends, all his mean friends are Congo people. Okay? So you cannot, and I want you to stop making false quotations of Ambassador Boakai that you don't have evidence of. There will be some people in the campaign on all sides here and there. I would say all kinds of things, but there is no point. I think it would be foolhardy on his part to even say that.
All right.
Nowhere.
All right, Mr. Kesselly.
I heard that in your house.
All right.
And you talk about tribal cards. Let me tell you this, man, who he is when it comes to tribalism. Firstly, a lot of you were going around thinking that Anthony is a kitty man from Joseph Boakai's tribe, or Anthony is a new Joseph Boakai from as far back as the 80s or the 90s. Today, that is totally untrue. In Joseph Boakai's office, a 12-year office, let me tell you how tribal you people assume he was.
Mr. Kesselly, this particular narrative was pushed by the Boakai campaign. And for you to sit here and tell me that never happened, it happened.
It never happened.
It did happen. It did happen. Let's move on, Mr. Kesselly. I have a lot of questions for you.
No. That's it. I'm telling you, reschedule the program. You bring that evidence and let's argue it. It never happened.
All right. Let me progress. Let's talk about salary disparity.
No, but
Mr. Kesselly, you wanted to spend like 30 minutes on one question when we have so many questions for you. You gave your answer.
You don't want to leave it with the audience to judge.
And the audience going to judge. They're not going to take what I say. I don't think they're not here to take anything I say. I'm asking you questions.
I have no evidence of this, Mr. Pierre. There is nowhere Dr. Boakai said, I'm native candidate, so you're the native people you're both. Never.
His campaign ran with that.
Why do you make a look in the sky and just say so? Run it and carry away.
Let's talk about salary disparity, Mr. Kesselly. Can we talk about salary disparity in Liberia?
We are not done with tribalism. I'm going to say, you're not going to muddy water and then just still. You talk about tribalism. I want to talk
Mr. Kesselly, you may have said clear. You said it was never said. Can you say anything more than that? That it didn't happen, yes. No evidence whatsoever, and you've been given that opportunity to make. I'm even helping you to make it clear. Do you still want us to talk about it?
I'm making it clear. I'm lying.
No, I didn't say you're lying. I said it did happen. So we have a disagreement. I didn't tell you you're lying. You said it didn't happen. I said it happened. Did I accuse you of lying? No, I did not accuse you of lying.
Go to a more suitable place for it, but don't bring that Congo country or tribal issue here because it's not true.
All right. Liberians were listening that time and they will be the judge about what we're saying. Let's talk about salary disparity. Let's talk about salary disparity. What has been Mr. Boakai's position on salary disparity in Liberia? Government officials, presidents, vice presidents, senators in his government, even somebody at Noka were being paid $30,000 a month. Talk to me. What is his position on this issue?
His position was he was vice president of the Republic of Liberia. Mm-hmm. He performed what a vice president does. This attitude you people have of going to the polls and electing people, and when they fail, bring the blame for their failure and put it on Ambassador Boakai, is what you people will not succeed. You have a legislature that you march and went and voted. They allocate money. They decide who gets what. Even if the president were to come with all the ballooning salaries, they have the final authority. The legislature has the final authority.
Our understanding is that Mr. Boakai was president of the Senate, and he has some kind of supervisory role. He could lobby with those people to cut down those salaries. He didn't. Whether he attempted or not, apparently he did not succeed. Right?
No. Let's be very important. Thank you brought this thing about president of the Senate. Because do you know in deliberations of the Senate, it will be a violation on the part of the vice president to even speak for the substance on any matter that is being discussed.
Has Mr. Boakai criticized this issue of huge salaries for government officials? Has he said anything about it? What is his position on it?
As far as I'm concerned, where the Constitution told him to speak, he spoke there, and that is to the president. He assessed the president in things, relative to that kind of matter.
So he has no position on salary disparity in Liberia as a Liberian citizen? He has nothing to say about it?
Whenever he is president, then I will hold him responsible.
So he should be president before you hold him accountable for not saying anything on a consequential economic injustice in our country, Mr. Kesselly?
I cannot say he's not saying anything. But your theory about vice president is not, and you will not hold him responsible for what the Lord did not put on.
He's running for president. I want to get his take on salary disparity. What does he think about it?
When you say here that we find out some opportunities, all of you don't hit the start for the honesty. You want him come again and say, oh, I told the president they want here and he refused. Then you jump again and celebrate. That is, he said,
and when we quote him, you say we have problem. Why shouldn't we quote him?
But you misquoted him. You didn't quote him.
Let's talk about the issue of war crimes code, Mr. Kesselly, if you may. Mr. Boakai, based on my calculation, it took him 14 years before he could make a definite statement or take a definite position that he's supporting the war crime code. What took him so long? Do you know?
But to tell the falsehood in what you say, the final report of the CRC was produced in 2009. That is not 14 years. He attended the All Liberia Conference on the finalization of the CRC report at the United States Center. He was there and gave representatives and gave all the support. Go check the history. So that you're 14 years, I don't know when last you had a call for this. But as far as we know, the final report of the CRC was 2009. I attended that conference. Eula sent me, I was Eula president then. And from that point,
do you know when these crimes were committed, Mr. Kesselly?
There has been no occasion where he has said, I don't support the recommendation for war crimes.
During the debate in 2017, his position was that he won a reconciliation commission. That was an equivalent of saying, I don't support a war and economic crimes code, because that question was asked.
No. He offered that whatever we do, the end result will be the purpose of healing. Okay? Because we in EULA, we did contact on two issues, war crimes, three issues, war crimes, the issue of dual citizenship, and out-of-country voting. And his response has always been positive. EULA, in fact, gave him a certificate of appreciation for his support. So basically dual citizenship, out-of-country voting, and so. So I don't know the occasion where he stood firm. This is the man who is talking everything that I am against impunity.
Mr. Kesselly, of recent, Mr. Boakai went on record for saying he supports the war crime code now. That was never the case after the crimes were committed. That was never the case in 2017 when he was contesting for president the first time and participated in the debate. That is different. So when I did my calculation, from the time these crimes were committed, he has not made any or given any indication that he supports a war crime code for the crimes that were committed, the mayhems.
I was in the hall of the debate. I escorted him there. So I'm not.
So you know I'm telling the truth that he said he wanted a reconciliation commission instead of a war crime code.
Whatever we undertake, whether it's war crime, what the general purpose he intends to do is we say that and find healing. You don't want to do something that further divides the country. So if you have a war crime or whatever you have, but that the main focus is some people don't see war crime and just spend punishment.
Okay.
Don't go to intimidation, punished.
Yeah.
Other people have a different, they can be planted in another. He refers to the African pattern and other ways for us to deal with it. But there's no time, as he said, people to go just with impunity while they are not taking responsibility what they did.
Mr. Kesselly, do you know the position of Mr. Boakai on dual citizenship? That has been a major thing. I know you for a fact that you support it. So in any case, you might have a clue of whether or not Mr. Boakai supports or dual citizenship for Liberians living in the diaspora. Please share with us what you know.
Yes. So
yeah.
He got a certificate of appreciation from ULA. Now under my administration now, because you always say, oh, that you were there. I was how are you about to say? Your countrymen, what they can say. I was not president of ULA. He got the certificate, he got the plaque, congratulating for his support. He toured this place. And that question came in almost all the town halls he had. And he expressly supported dual citizenship.
Okay.
So that was clear.
All right, Mr. Kesselly, you're doing very well. I like the short answer that way we can cover a lot. In 1979, there was this race riot. Mr. Boakai, some people might think he's a progressive, and I don't know the facts whether he was or not, right? But this race riot has become a historical debate in Liberia. I have not heard Mr. Boakai say anything, and I'm not suggesting that he has not said anything. I'm just curious. What is his position? Has he said anything? You had the opportunity to work with him for some time.
But who led the right riot? Who was the key leader of the right riot?
Are you answering my question? What is Mr. Boakai's position on the whole race riot thing?
Because Mr. Boakai at some point was a member of the UPP. UPP people passed. At the time,
yes,
was the group that took the right riot. The whole country supported it.
Right.
Demonstrated that I was there right at the power headquarters on Kesselly Street. I took part in the riot. So what is this you want Mr. Boakai to say again? It's in our past. It's in our history. It happened.
Okay.
What is it to say?
All right.
Condemn it or praise it? What is it you expect him to say?
No, I take that answer, Mr. Kesselly. He was part of UPP at the time. So, yeah, so conclude on that.
At that time, I think eventually that's the party I saw him with. Whether it was, because at that time, that was that. It was
so you are assuming then, Mr. Kesselly, you don't know that for a fact?
The question, I don't know what he's supposed to say.
Okay.
What is your
because somebody can be part of a party and disagree. Like in your case, you are not a member of Unity Party. You are a member of a different party, but you are supporting Unity Party presidential candidate because you happen to probably believe in him, like you said accurately. So we can't just assume that because you are part of UPP, so he was in favor of the race riot.
The question I have is, what is it that anybody is supposed to say about the right riot? Oh, how many years ago, even after that we fought civil war for 14 years, we've come out of that. What is someone to come today and say, oh, the right riot was good, the right riot was good?
Mr. Sawyer, Amos Claudius Sawyer is on record now of recent of saying the race riot was not necessary. Does Mr. Boakai share that view right now? Do you know?
Yeah, it was. I share it. I don't know whether somebody else and Mr. Boakai has spoken to that. I felt it could have been averted.
Okay.
It was because you gotta look at context.
Right.
So most of you see he's saying backwards then were stupid, they were not supposed to do what they did. But you are seeing the other side. It would have been easily resolved. It was not necessary, it did not need to happen. Okay? For example, Mr. Boakai was there when the April 12 children got up, I got Aki Chano, Mama Sikaba, and a lot of other people, they said they were going to demonstrate. Who resolved it? You call people, you sit down and talk and see their angle. and you tell them it's an angle. They'll talk about consequences. You know, what could be the outcome? You'll get understanding. Wasn't that you? It was that you. So if lawyer said it was not necessary, and you would think that it's a fundamental of master business, I didn't take it that way. I myself, in fact, it was hard off.
All right.
To call it off.
All right, Mr. Kesselly.
The first grenade that came in landed not too far from me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kesselly.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's come to this issue of decentralization and devolution. Mr. Boakai is running for president. Many Liberians agree that there's this imperial presidency, the King Kong presidency. Mr. Boakai is running for president. Where does he stand on imperial presidency / decentralization / devolution? Has he articulated any position whatsoever in taking some of these powers away from the president? Or he just want to get there and enjoy it like Ellen did and we are is doing?
Okay, thank you. That's a nice question. Because that's an area that I know for sure, being with Ambassador Boakai, he has done the past. Even the little thing about devolution and little part of decentralization that was just implemented.
Right.
Setting centers, service centers in the country. I think 99% of them were open and officially launched by Ambassador Boakai.
Okay.
The one in Kesselly, the one in Sanikole. I mean, we went all around to launch those things, and he shared his views in his speeches about the need for decentralization. Yes, he's a very strong supporter of decentralization. As you can see, if you see that people are talking, when you talk about acknowledging imperial presidency, what most people don't do is, oh, yeah, the imperial presidency. Then when we say the vice president have to say, no. So then you don't believe that there's imperial presidency. If you do believe that there's imperial presidency, you will believe that the vice president can do very little. So this is the contradiction they have. Everybody believes the president is too powerful, both in terms of the power itself and the opportunities that the president has to do certain things that satisfy people and so forth. The vice president has none. But people want to hold the vice president to have done this and that over this imperial president.
All right.
That's a self-contradiction right there.
All right.
Yes, he believes in decentralization. It's codified in many of the speeches he gave in the China, in Sanikole, I mean, all over the place on this question of decentralization.
So
he's a strong believer in it.
So should Mr. Boakai be lucky enough to become our country's president? Will we see the election of, like, say, city mayors, superintendents, and paramount chief and commissioners and judges in our country? Are we going to see that? Or have you had any conversation with Mr. Boakai concerning this?
Yeah, I'm not going to be here to say, okay, when I win this and that, the women will have 30% this and that. Mr. Boakai will make efforts in those directions. Ultimately, Brother Spear, it will have to be the legislature you guys elect. Okay? He will not decree that from now on we elect superintendent. It has to go.
He can use executive order. I mean, the issue of city mayor is not in our constitution, right, Mr. Kesselly? You know that.
Yeah. Well, they have to go to court and all of that. If you don't have the resources and other things, certain situation can happen. You can't be able to do it.
Right.
That can happen. But to say you come and abrogate it officially,
right.
That's a different thing. So I don't know what the requirements are, but that's why you had it on referendum.
Okay.
That's what's required.
Okay.
You have to go through referendum. I said in here, if Mr. Boakai becomes president, I would say, please declare tomorrow that what is free for everybody, but he doesn't have that power to do it.
He can issue executive order, Mr. Kesselly, but world citizenship is more like beyond us now. So
in America, what you do in Liberia, you got to look at the law and what the limitations are given. You don't just see it happening in the U.S. and say, okay, the president can just do it.
The president can just do it, Mr. Kesselly. I believe that our laws are a photocopy of the American laws. It can be done.
Georgia, who is a strong supporter of U.S. citizenship, why hasn't he issued executive order on it?
It's a matter of choice. He could have done that. He had that option, and he chose not to do it. Will Boakai be strong enough to do it?
Please, I'm telling you, it's not in our law for us to will happen any time. It will happen to all we have time.
Okay.
So all these people are supposed to do what they say. But you go sit there and look at what happened here and see automatically it's supposed to happen in Liberia.
All right.
Check that out. I will appeal to you.
Mr. Kesselly,
I don't think that's the law.
Mr. Kesselly, let's talk about harmonization. Harmonization that you know about, Mr. Boakai knows about, was so because the Boakai Allen administration, was giving salaries in the tune of $30,000 a month to some officials, 15 a month to some officials. So the WIA government came and harmonized. Does Mr. Boakai have qualm with that?
Now your statement is false. Your statement is false because it's not any administration getting it's the legislature that distributes our money.
The $30,000 I was giving to the people at NOCAD was the legislature that were giving that money?
Whatever that came from our coffers, it was a budget approved by.
Who drafted the budget and who signed the budgets? Every budget I saw Mr. Boakai's signature on it. And Mr. Kesselly, you know that. Mr. Boakai signed every budget. When the president and the vice president do not sign the budget is not implemented.
Are you look, the vice president doesn't have to sign.
But the president has to sign. The vice president has signed.
Let me make that clear so you don't stand aside, because this whole target is now the vice president. The president is supposed to be let go free, and to catch the vice president standing this, and when the legislature decide, he got no veto power there to stop it. But let me tell you this: whether 30,000, 50,000 that people made, it went through the budget, the legislature.
And who drafted the budget? The executive did, right?
Now you don't get it to tell. Yes, if you say who drafted and who has final say and distributes responsibility, I know you're going to attack the drafter. You're not going to attack who has the final.
And the executive could not use a lobbying power to make sure these salaries were kept low.
They don't put you up when they lobby with you. They don't put you at one point. It's a frustration.
And that's where leadership comes in, Mr. Kesselly. Leadership comes in. A leader must be persuasive and communicate often.
Okay, if the leader comes and comes to your legislature, says, go to all your people in your district, and that person, because the leader is persuasive, gets up and goes to do it, that's on that person. He is still responsible. We're talking about responsibility. The legislature is responsible. Ultimately, even if the president disagrees, they can do it. If they disagree, the president can't do it.
So you are saying the executive could not get away through the legislature, correct?
The who is the legislature agrees.
Okay.
But the legislature agrees. If the president can push any kind of way and the legislature stands on principle,
okay,
it will not happen.
All right. But Mr. Kesselly, what we also saw is that under the Boakai Allen administration, they wanted some concessions agreement passed, and those concession agreements were passed irrespective of the price tag because they wanted it to happen anyway, so they succeeded. But when it came to reducing salaries for these government officials, you are saying they were armless politically.
I said, who are armless? Who are armless?
The president and vice president couldn't do anything. You said the legislatures had its final say.
I'm telling you that whatever was proposed by the president was implemented by the legislature, but they could have been the roadblock.
Okay.
They could have been the watchdog to stop it. It is their means to make that determinate. It is their constitutional obligation to do that. I can't blame the president like me. You can't blame me for what Mr. Boakai didn't implement. If I advise him, he said he can take it or leave it.
All right.
He ultimately decides. The legislature, they can get a proposal. This is how we see it to happen. Tell we on the implementing side. UCA agree with us. They either agree or refuse. If they really refuse, it will never happen.
Mr. Boakai is on record.
Let us try now in America here. When certain things happen in Washington, D.C., people go after their legislators. They mobilize to remove them or to not let them next time.
All right.
They don't put all on the president.
That is a fair point there, Mr. Kesselly. That is a fair point there. But let me bring your attention to this. Mr. Boakai is on record for emphasizing the rule of law, the rule of law, the rule of law. Do you know whether Mr. Boakai has been able to file his campaign finance paper with the National Election Commission?
Yeah,
do you know?
I'm sorry if I bring it there. Sometimes first people see that I'm insulting them. But
no. Don't go there. I'm asking a question. Many people don't know. This is an opportunity for you to get what the truth is out there. So don't read into it, Mr. Kesselly. Just respond.
No, I'm going to read into it. But it's not only you. Now, I'm not answering it for you. It's prevalent all over the place. The Elections Commission is there. It got its responsibility.
So you want me to go there?
Exactly. But why should you sit down here and not go find that out?
And why should you not tell me that your candidate have done that? Why can you not tell me?
Because you have a way of knowing. Because if I tell you, you could say that lie. Why not just go?
Have I said you lied to me or anything before?
Take yourself out of it. You know, take yourself out of it. This is about a general question that the Election Commission is right there. It's a public institution. They have records. The parties are functioning. They are not fining them. They are not banning them. They are not restricting them. So that means they are conforming to what is required of them.
All right.
Why therefore you partner? Are you saying the Election Commission is insignificant, impotent? So you got to find out whether my candidate really went and reported to them because you don't trust them. If you trusted them, you trust that, oh yeah, this party is functioning because it is in good with the Elections Commission.
All right.
Why will you people not go to the Elections Commission and Sonny and get this matter clear? The Elections Commission is condoning this group. They don't have their papers correct, and they are still around here and performing. They are not supposed to. That's what you're supposed to do.
Thank you, Mr. Kesselly. Time has color with us. I am sorry that we. I think we have to schedule this interview again. I know how strong and articulate you are, and that is why I wanted us to have a conversation. So, Mr. Kesselly, because of time, we will give you the opportunity for an uninterrupted, if you like, 4 minutes closing statement, sir, if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you. I hope the next time we get around, you bring that recording or whatever evidence you have about the Boakai or his campaign, telling people, and maybe question your vote for me, the other for Congo people, and this and that. Okay. So we can settle that at that time. But the fact of the matter is, I want to thank you. I'm very sorry that your technical failure could not be repaired so that we are here, but at least people heard my voice. If ever you decide to reach schedule 8, I will be available. I'm shortly due to go to Liberia to get on the ground for the real assault that we are about to confront. I highly respect your platform, and I'm very much disposed to coming back if we didn't finish up today for some of the other issues that were left hanging.
Okay.
Thank you. God bless you.
And God bless the Republic of Liberia. Mr. Kesselly, thank you so very much. Folks in cyberspace, we apologize. We have to come to the end of this broadcast. The interruption, as Mr. Kesselly, and due to some technical glitch there, could not allow us to have concluded the interview with him and then later on to bring you in to make some calls. And also the same conference number we use is the one we have to have him on, for the interview. And so, folks, we want to say thank you for sticking around with us here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Mama Liberia. At this time, we will bring you our closing song. Thank God we were able to read few of the comments at the time we were having, some issues there. So keep your dial set here. I focus on Liberia as always. But before I go, let me show you some interesting lineup that we have here coming your way here. Focus on Liberia. Tomorrow, Wednesday is our program, Roundtable Africa, always with Edward Amaral, our West African correspondent, and also Mr. Sekou Keller. They will be here with the complicated legacy of F.W. de Klerk, South Africa's last apartheid era president. You don't want to miss the very, very interesting broadcast coming your way tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, live here at Focus on Liberia. And also Thursday is our program, Tough Talking Thursday, with Danny Baku Kenjuja. Again, Mr. Anthony Kesselly will be the guest, and our panelists will be here, Wilmon Kunin, Chief Political Analyst, Carl Famula, Policy Analyst, and Mohammed Sharif, Political Analyst. Mr. Anthony Kesselly is entering the Lions Den tomorrow. You do not want to miss it. The topic, Kennedy Joseph Boakai and his 2023 presidential bid. You do not want to miss it. I will not be here, but Dennis is the man. He's well-rounded. He will have it all down for you, and you will get nothing but the best here at Focus on Liberia. Folks, we have to take leave of you now, but we can't go until we bring you this song. I love this song. I love this song, and I love this song because this song always ignite in me a nationalistic spirit. And that song says, we are all Liberians. Folks, enjoy the song for a minute and tell me thank you later on for playing it for you. This is how we'll do it. I'm answering here. I hope I was on my A game asking the questions for Liberia and for Liberians, because these politicians, I know what they do when they get power, and you know it too. And so, in love, let us ask them the question. Let them answer. And that is the goal and nothing else. No agenda whatsoever. Bye-bye, folks.
We are Liberia. Liberia is our